welcome back to this second hour of Hereticus. And so we've just introduced the newest member of the Inquisitorial cell, which is Prue. And you guys, we'll fast forward a bit, and you guys are now sitting in the war room of Lord General. And now I've forgotten his name. Of course I have. Legolas, isn't that his name?
Like the elf.
Yes, like the elf, just only not. And of course a massive retinue of officers planning the assaults on Port Hadley, which is, if the Lord General has his way, the final battle of the Piety of Seth. The War of Seth, as the Lord General has named it. So basically, what's going on at this point is that there is a hologram of Port Hadley, and Port Hadley is it consists almost entirely of docking bays. For shuttles, it is the main port of the Piety of Seth, and it's ringed by dockyards and all kinds of structures and buildings meant to support its role as a port. And then, of course, also hab blocks for workers and all that. But where Port Calling is where Port Calling is a large, relatively large city, full of pilgrims and other people with some connection to the ecclesiarchy, as well, of course, as people supporting the planet's original purpose, which is agriculture. Port Hadley is the exact opposite. It's there's not much activity that isn't that doesn't serve its function, or didn't serve its function as a port. And the Lord General focuses his attention on the port itself, which is where the enemy has entrenched itself.
Yes.
At this point, they are still they still occupy the majority of the supporting areas of the city or the port as well, but they have largely entrenched themselves within the port itself.
Right.
So he's of course giving all kinds of orders to his officers and basically planning out the assault. Is there anything you would like to add to that discussion, or do you just let?
I'm listening in.
Sure.
Because, and I mean, obviously, she does know a thing or two about war.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, strangely as it is, strange as it may sound.
Shock. I'm shocked.
Yes, shock and horror.
Yes.
She does have common law war, although it's not something she's invested massively in. So she's not going to stand there and try her hand at grand strategy. That is the purview of the general. And I think more than anything, Francesca listens to his briefing because there might be information there that could be of use to us. Basically.
Certainly. So here's the thing. The Lord General he does have the resources to just bombard the Port Hadley into oblivion. He does have those resources. He does have the weaponry for it.
And
however,
yeah, and the authority.
And the authority to do so. However, he's hesitant to do this. He would prefer if the port remained intact. Simply because it would, should they destroy it, it would be resources sink to reconstruct it.
Be pure hell to get this thing back up and running. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And as long as the port is in enemy hands, or if it's destroyed, it's extremely difficult to get resources down onto the planet's surface. So he would prefer to keep the port intact. So the idea is to...
Question. Is it possible for us to get some plans of the city?
Unfortunately, I don't have any plans of the city, but imagine, if you will, the port itself being at the center of it all, and then the supporting elements, dockyards, hab blocks, and so on, being located as rings surrounding the port.
So basically, it's constructed like a hive city that hasn't actually started growing upwards yet.
Yes, that's it exactly.
But we can't get a plan of the city in character either.
Unfortunately, I don't have a solid plan of Port Hadley. But if you have any questions, then I might be able to answer it anyway.
Well, such things as major ecclesiastical structures and the largest two banks in the city would be nice to know where they are. They would, realistically, they would be the places with the strongest vaults.
There is a cathedral in Port Hadley. There's one where Port Calling is absolutely filled, or was filled, with cathedrals and chapels and all sorts of religious structures. Port Hadley is the exact opposite. It is purely practical in its construction. It does have a cathedral, of course, because it wouldn't be the Imperium if it didn't.
Also, if pilgrims land here, no doubt that some of the most eager ones are going to be running around like mad things looking for the nearest cathedral in which to pray, and they will be making a ruckus until they find such people.
Yep, indeed. So they are able to point those buildings out for you. Also, it's worth mentioning that the Lord General reports that his scouts in the city have spotted in the center of Port Hadley, in the port itself. They've spotted they use the word abomination. A creature that seems to be the result of a multitude of humans fused into each other. That is how they describe it anyway.
I have forbidden lore heresy. I have 2 ranks in it, so would I be able to realize that that's what's called a spawn?
Sure. Let's say you can do that.
All right.
And according to them, it holds quite a bit of power within the remaining renegade regiments. It seems to have some kind of commanding role.
That's impressive. It's not mindless in that case. That's
doesn't appear to be the case, no.
That is disturbing in the extreme. Well, obviously, we have it would be preferable to level such a thing with a few well-placed basilisk rounds for obvious reasons, but we do need to get in there. And it stands to reason that if that thing has a command role, then what area does it guard again?
It's located in the central part of town, in the port area.
Right.
And it isn't stationary. It's mobile,
It's moving
but
around.
it does stay within that area of the city.
Very well. In that case, I believe we shall start by. We need to move in with the troops because, and probably slightly ahead of the troops, but we do need to be supported. Obviously, if the four of us go into the middle of Port Hadley, and we have no backup coming, then we're going to be surrounded and killed very swiftly indeed.
Yes.
So what we need to do is be opportunistic and make use of any opportunity we can find where the troops are advancing in general, and if we then spot a strategically important structure, we have to go for it. Clear it out of any enemy command structure that might be there. If there's let's say a commanding structure of where we can see or tell that there's a command post, then we would be the people to go and assist in clearing that out. And that should hopefully also land us valuable intel as we do so. This isn't going to be done in one rush, as you yourself have outlined, General. It's going to be city block by city block.
Yes, it certainly appears to be the case. However, I cannot help but wonder if this abomination my men have described might not be the proverbial head of the snake.
It probably is. And I believe that when we get closer, then we shall certainly be going for that. There's no question of that. We have to. Again, the point being that if we rush into Port Hadley now, ahead of the troops, without them supporting us, we're never even going to get close to it.
Celestian Elohim Francesca.
Mm-hmm.
Would it not also be likely that this abomination has that which we seek?
It is very likely, and again, another good reason to make sure that we go for it. I absolutely intend to do so. I don't intend to sit here and wait until the Imperial Guard, who, may I add, have fought very nobly in this campaign, do the job for us. But again, Port Hadley is a major city, and even if we had a disguised vehicle with which to drive through that place, which we don't, it would still mean we would be a few people, 4 people more precisely, and 2 cybermastiffs, surrounded by concentric rings of tens of thousands of heretics with nothing to do but kill us. So we have to do this when the attack goes in, so that those tens of thousands of people are busy with something else.
I agree. I did not mean to imply that we should rush in.
I do not exactly fancy the idea of so many baying heretics using our collective nipples for target practice.
What's your experience with parachutes?
Let's just say that that my order uses jump packs, but I don't have the training for it.
None.
And in your case, Macdeacon Prudentia, I think there's also the added weight to take into consideration. Most members of the Adeptus Mechanicus are obviously heavier than flesh.
I suppose they are, but we could adjust a parachute to take that into account. My idea, so this crazy idea I had in my brain is that we throw everything we have at them, or rather, let's disregard that. We do what we must to draw them out.
Yes.
and then we fly you in.
Right. That is,
And
and
then-
that is certainly an option. But again, none of us have any training with that.
Oh no, it's relatively simple. You pull the cord and the parachute opens, and you then try not to land somewhere where you die.
Yeah.
No. It's up to you, but it would be a fast way for us to end this, if indeed that creature is the head of the snake.
True. My thought was to make use of the immolator once the attack goes in. have the tanks open a breach for us in the enemy line and race through it. They won't be able to turn and follow us because they will still be under attack.
Indeed. The only reason I didn't mention that is that their defenses are primarily pointed toward the ground. But it is an option. It is certainly an option. And
The point of that is, and bear this in mind, I'm not disregarding your suggestion, General.
It is a wild suggestion.
But it is important that we also have a way out. It is not simply a matter of killing this thing and then everything falls together in seconds. I doubt that's going to happen. Even if we kill it, it's probably going to take a while for the remaining thousands of now leaderless traitors to stop trying to save their miserable existences.
You'd be surprised at how fast enemy infrastructure can collapse, but I do grant you that it is not a given.
Suggestion.
Yes, please.
Could you fly in the emulator?
No,
Do we have a dropship?
We don't have that here.
No, I figured that a Valkyrie would not be heavy enough to take essentially a Rhino.
Nope.
No. We would need something as large as a Thunderhawk, and those are obviously, well, they're kind of limited to a certain subgroup of Imperial troops that we do not belong to.
So, as you say that, his eyes go wide, and he rushes over to one of his Vox men.
Yes.
And he basically shouts into his ear, "Get a hold of the kill team."
Oh.
And the Vox master frantically tries to get hold of the kill team. And there's some communication between him and whoever's on the other end, probably the kill team.
Yes.
And he rushes over to the Lord General and says, he whispers something into his ear, and the Lord General lights up in a big old smile and looks over at you guys. "It seems we just borrowed a Thunderhawk."
Amazing. Brilliance. That means we have a way in with the tank that's going to make life considerably easier when we need to get back out.
Indeed. So,
Excellent.
who wants to be in the driver's seat of your emulator, as it is? I'm not sure we can do a proper landing. So
No, it'll be a
things
drop
might get
like it-
rough.
Ooh, me.
Yes, we have a very good driver in Medea,
All right.
and I will strap myself into the turret. We might as well go down. We might as well touch down firing.
Yes, indeed. And he turns to his officers and says, "Well, men, this is what we'll do." And then he starts delegating or giving orders and setting up. And basically, the plan is, as you guys get a sense, is to draw out the enemy.
Yes.
And that won't happen if he makes an all-out assault. So they'll just dig in deeper. But you all hear that that's the plan, is to get their attention. Of course, they can't promise that there won't be any defenses
No,
to shoot you out of the sky, but it's worth an effort, he thinks.
If the Thunderhawk is flown by one of the God Emperor's angels of death, I don't think they stand that much chance of actually hitting the thing. I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so is there anything else you would like to coordinate with the Lord General?
No.
Okay. So
not in my case anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to make sure that we all stock up on ammunition, that we bring weapons of different kinds. You know, whatever, if we have, so we have enough ammo and so on, which can be stored in the chassis of the immolator.
Sure. Cool.
So in Francesca's case, this means that she brings her bolter, obviously, an ordinary size flamer, the heavy flamer, and the new one, the multi-melter. But she can only carry a few of them at a time, obviously. But it's so that she's got choices when they land.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. So, beyond that, what do you do to prep for this? I won't say suicide mission, but certainly
Dangerous mission.
Dangerous mission.
Well, Prue, of course, brings her weapons, but she already had those. I imagine we, of course, coordinate in which direction we should head to reach our own troops.
Sure.
It might also be, something you can hear, the fighting, but... And I think Prue would like to know where she should strap in, where she could be most useful.
By the engine and the cogitator containing the machine spirit of the vehicle. Because we really need this thing to keep running.
Of course.
We really do not need this to suddenly stall.
Nope.
Understood.
And I'm keeping an eye on, as I said, I'll be in the turrets, and I need you, Achelon, to continuously try to sense any psychic presences. Specifically, we know that these geometric shapes give off very strong psychic presences. So I want you to probe for them. I don't want you to just slam your senses into the highest sense, because we know that when you do that, you tend to go blank for a few moments, and that might be the few moments where you get killed. So
Understood.
be careful when you sense for them. Right?
Cool.
Understood.
And Medea is, of course, driving the immolator.
She's the designated driver.
I love it. Okay, cool.
Hey, we have a pretty good team when it comes to it, in terms of filling out the various functions in this particular kind of tank.
Yep. Indeed.
Are these objects meant to be acquired whole?
You mean the geometric shapes? Yes, they're rather small. We haven't seen anything that could destroy one of them yet, so yes, they are meant to be retrieved in one piece.
Understood.
Cool. Okay.
I cannot know this for a fact, but it is, this is based purely on observation of these things and on my own personal beliefs. But I have, I think, reasonable cause to think that if one of these things should be broken open, we will have moments in which to pray to the God Emperor for forgiveness, and then it will be over. Not just for us, but for anything within half a planet.
Prue takes a moment to consider, and then she says, I see. I believe I understand.
Cool. Okay, so so you guys make ready for this, and after this great meeting with the this war council with the Lord General, you guys you prep, you get the ammunition you need. I take it that Prue performs the proper tech rights on the equipment and the emulator itself and all that.
Yes. Of course, she also fixes up her doggo.
Yep, certainly. And meanwhile, the entirety of the remaining loyalist regiments make ready for the final assaults on Port Hadley, and that means thousands of guardsmen prepping and artillery setting up, and various personnel carriers being readied, and all that. And
is there a group of these guys nearby, in a large formation of troops nearby, like a company or regiment size?
Yeah, sure.
Not regiment, but battalion. Sorry.
Certainly battalion sized.
Sure. I think Francesca, once she's put her weapons into the tank, she will walk over to where their commanding officer is. I imagine that if it's a battalion, it'll be a colonel.
Mm-hmm.
And she nods to him, says, "May I address the men?"
Certainly.
She hops up on whatever command vehicle there might be close by, looks over the men, raises her voice, and shouts to them, "Men!"
They snap to attention. They already were, but they do so even more as it's the local celebrity who is addressing them.
This is it. This is going to be the point of truth. You're all going to face your worst fears many times over in what's to come. You're going to see friends die. You're going to see friends wounded. You may be wounded. You may even be killed yourselves. But this is not for you. It is not for the man next to you. It is not even for your regiment. This is for the Imperium of Man. This is for the God Emperor himself. Those heretics in that city right now defy his holy authority by their very lives. And it is your duty and your privilege to unleash the Emperor's fury upon them. You are the hammer of the Imperium. I say you crush them.
So there's silence as you say this, but there's no question as you look into the eyes of these men that silence is one of determination, of zeal, and each and every one of these soldiers being ready to basically die for the Emperor.
Yep. Well, that's the point of it.
Yep.
She nods to all of them and says, "It's been my privilege to fight alongside you men. Do the Emperor proud."
And pretty much as one, they salute you.
Yep. She hops down, salutes the colonel.
Does the same.
And she walks back to the others.
Cool.
Good show. I felt the urge to salute myself.
I thought they might need a little encouragement, but they're going to go into it's going to be ugly.
Morale has been known to have a rather positive effect.
Indeed.
As if they needed any more encouragement, they all see this black Thunderhawk land nearby the emulator, and
it gets hooked up.
It does indeed get hooked up. And let me see if we can't find a Thunderhawk for you guys, so you know what it.
I think it's going to be able to carry a.
It's a clunky vehicle, but holy shit, it's powerful.
Just think if it's going to be the one that can carry rhinos, that means it's the transporter variety.
Yes,
It would
indeed.
need to be.
Yes, that thing can sling 2 rhinos underneath it if it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or one land raider.
My guess, or one land raider, yeah. But my guess is that they probably have their own transports as well. It's a kill team after all.
I think I found someone making it in Minecraft.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's actually kind of cool.
Let's see. Is this good enough? It's going to have to be. I'll just post something in the chat.
Let's have a look, see.
Thunderbird.
Thunderhawk. It's as far as what you visualize, Rasmus, when you mentioned the sensor. I think that's entirely a thing. The Adeptus Mechanicus is massive enough that there's going to be a wide range of ways to do these rites, these tech rites, and appeasing the machine spirits. So, absolutely, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Cool. So, so the pilot of the Thunderhawk is one of these specimens. And specifically, so do any of you have any laws regarding Adeptus Astartes or the Space Marines?
I wish. No.
Okay,
no,
cool.
That's forbidden lore, I believe.
It might be. It might be.
Secret lore.
Yeah.
Not unless they're tech.
It isn't. It isn't related to tech. It was basically just to see if you can identify the chapter this the Space Marine is from. But
Well, out of character, what chapter is he from?
he is a Storm Warden.
Right.
Storm Warden
One of
was
the Welsh guys.
yeah, they were introduced in Warhammer Deathwatch.
Yes, they were. They're also they have a heavy presence in the Calixis sector, so it makes sense.
But yeah, and he doesn't say much. He does exit the Thunderhawk before he walks over to introduce himself. He has a proper Welsh name. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but he does, and that's really it. Then he makes ready to hook up the emulator.
I like the fact that he's businesslike in this. It means that he's probably pretty damn sure that he can do this.
Oh, so you don't get you get the sense that this is something he looks forward to.
Cool. I like that. All right. Well,
it should be said he does address. Well, first he addresses Sister Francesca and asks, "Who among you is going to drive this beautiful, beautiful thing?" He
gets a smile at the compliment of the vehicle because, well, obviously Francesca has to say that she shares the sentiment, and then she gestures towards Medea and says, "Medea, there is it's our driver."
He nods and walks over to Medea. I am told that you are the driver.
Yep.
Excellent. So here's the plan. As when we approach our destination, I'm going to fly in as low as I possibly can, and I'll unhook the emulator. So you'll be hitting ground and be ready for it. Basically, what I need you to do is as soon as you hit the ground, you set your emulator in motion. And you need to be able to steer it. Are you up for that?
She makes a face. Of course I am.
Right. Of course you are. Excellent. 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 All right. Well, that's the plan then. Emperor be with you. And then he walks off toward the Thunderhawk. And I'm going to assume that you guys position yourselves in the immolator. With Medea being ready to pilot the thing, and
Everybody needs to be strapped in.
yes, it's going to be a rough landing.
Strapped
It's going to be a
in.
really rough landing.
Yeah.
I was about to say, strapped in, considering the landing, we need to be strapped down.
Pretty much.
Best secure my doggos as well then.
Yes, they.
And have them scrambling around.
Yeah, and
that would be...
The reason we crash is because she gets a bullpup in the neck.
Yeah, they just go flying in both. Everybody just dies of having a cyber mastiff to the face.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So, and that includes everything. Everything needs to be strapped down and put in containers. And secured basically, because things are going to get rough in that immolator.
Everything is going to be bouncing around like all hell.
Yep, indeed. So, okay,
Like
cool.
troops in anime.
Exactly. So, the thing is, you're supposed to wait until the pilot, the Storm Warden Space Marine, gets the signal to fly in. And so you see the rest of the Imperial Guard take off toward Port Hadley, and so basically it's just you. So there is going to be some defenses left, of course. They can't leave it entirely undefended, but the vast majority of the loyalists, the guardsmen, are now on their way toward Port Hadley, and the final battle of hopefully of the War of Seth. And this is going to take a while because they need to set up when they get there, and they need to engage with the enemy and draw them out, and that's going to take a while. But eventually, the pilot of the Thunderhawk does get the signal. You can't see what's going on because Port Hadley is some distance away, of course. But you hear the engines as they start up on the Thunderhawk, and you feel the jerk as it
It's a gorgeous sound.
as it takes off, and eventually you can hear the sounds of warfare. As I don't know, are any of you able to look outside? I don't imagine you would be.
I think Medea is the only one.
Yeah.
She would be sitting by the where she's going to be controlling the vehicle. So she would be able to look outside.
Yeah. And so, Medea, you can see this ring-shaped city is taking quite a beating. You see constant explosions down there. And you see the thousands and thousands of ants as they as the battle of Port Hadley happens down there. You can't quite determine who's winning. You don't have the military expertise to determine that. But you do fly past the layers of this city and toward the center, and it's just smoke and fire and the sounds of death and destruction, really. Eventually, the pilot says over the comm system. He asks you if you're strapped in and ready.
He gets an affirmative. Yeah.
Right, excellent. Well,
There, gun the engines.
Yep.
so what I'm going to need from Medea is a what's it called? Is it pilot ground vehicle or something to that effect? Test. And I'm not going to make it easy on you. You'll get a -10 penalty for it. Because this is rough stuff.
Oof.
Well, you have spent some points on it, if I remember, so...
You can do it.
Hell yeah. Ugh.
Okay.
Oh, you can reroll.
Well, yeah, gonna.
Okay.
I don't want to smash us all into the ground.
Thank you.
Mostly because Rasmus just made this character.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay, cool. So,
I don't get to reroll again, do I?
no, unfortunately not.
Fuck.
So here's the thing: if at some point the pilot says over the comm, disengaging, and what he means by that is that he's unhooking the immolator. And you guys feel the jerk as the immolator suddenly starts plummeting toward the ground, and you start up the vehicle's engines, and and Medea, you're certain that you're doing it right, but maybe the machine spirits just aren't with you this day, and certainly Prue, you get the distinct feeling that that's the case, because as you crash onto the ground, the immolator has there's such force behind the landing that the immolator actually starts rolling around on the ground and smashes into buildings. And
we're strapped in, fortunately.
You are strapped in. However, the vehicle itself, the immolator, can't quite withstand that much punishment. And so when eventually you do stop rolling around and you're strapped in, of course, so you don't take significant damage. There are warning klaxons going on inside the immolator, and Prue, you get you understand what these klaxons mean without needing to do any kind of diagnostics.
What do they mean?
Well, the engine is shot. The engine won't needs to be repaired before you can move any further. And
Give me a damage assessment.
The engine's shot. We won't be able to move.
For how long will it take for you to make it? How long will you require to make it capable of moving under its own power? We don't need to go fast. We just need to go.
Heine, give me an estimate.
Well, I was going to say, in addition, one of the what are they called?
Cookies.
Bilderne. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
treads.
The treads on the left side of the vehicle have been destroyed, or not destroyed, but damaged.
Right.
So it's going to, unfortunately for you guys, it's going to take you hours with the equipment you have available to you,
Right.
to repair this thing.
Right.
Well,
so-
Prue tells us much.
And Medea, you're able to, you're sitting in the driver's seat, and you're able to look out, and you see as you guys are sitting there discussing this, and Prue's giving you guys a sit rep. Hang on.
I'm hanging on.
Sorry about that. So as Bruce giving her sit rep and Sister Francesca, you're basically pondering the implications of this sit rep. Medea, you see something walking down the street toward the immolator. It's too large for you to be able to see it all, to see all of it. But you do see humans fused together in a roughly humanoid shape. And that's basically what you see through the smoke and the fire of in the streets.
You should probably warn us.
This doesn't look good, guys.
What is it?
Are you back again?
Welcome back.
I will hesitate to call them people, but they're out there.
How many, roughly?
It's just, as far as you can tell, it's just one creature consisting of.
But it's that thing with the many.
It sounds like it.
Okay, good. Okay, no, I was AFK for a moment.
Oh,
because,
sure.
Bio break. So
Yep,
that's
yep.
why I said I was back again.
Yeah. So what Medea is seeing out of the what's it called? Words. But what she can see, at least further down the street, is part of some massive creature that's basically several humans fused together.
How far away is it?
Medea, you would estimate 50 meters, and it's lumbering toward you.
And it's lumbering towards us.
Yes.
Outstanding. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the others to be ready to jump out on my mark. Out the hatch farthest away from this thing, and then she is going to get ready to, because the turret is still there.
Yes.
She can't move in the tank, but the turret is not one of the things that you said had been ruined.
Yes, indeed.
So she's got twin-linked heavy flamers in that thing.
Yep. She sure does.
And yeah, so when this thing gets close enough, she's going to let it have it.
Okay, cool. And the others are to exit the
they are to use the distraction from when I basically envelop this thing in as much fire as I possibly can. No bucket loads of burning promethium.
Cool. Sweet. This creature continues to lumber toward you.
Yes.
Whatever it is. And
whatever it is, yes.
Eventually, of course, it does get within reach of the immolator.
Yeah.
And then you open fire. You basically.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
In fact, that's literally what I'm doing. I'm jamming the triggers.
Okay.
And then I make my way out as well. I'm just going to let it burn in that direction until it runs out of fuel.
Okay, that'll take a while, of course, but
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Cool,
the point is that this is also it's. I mean, that's 2 heavy flamers, and it's ouch.
Yep. Okay, cool. So Sister Francesca basically jams the flamer. So
and
that it continues to
grabs
flame.
her weapons on the way out, but I'm guessing it's going to take me around to get out.
Yeah. And what about the others? Are you also going to exit the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And we were told to, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's basically what Sister Francesca told you, at least.
Yeah. Staying in the vehicle while it tears it to pieces seems a little suicidal. I'd rather get out there and have a fighting chance.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you exit the immolator, and that's when you see the true scope of this thing.
Horror. Yeah.
Yeah, you see. Now that you can see the creature in its entirety, you would guess a few hundred renegade guardsmen have been fused together into this vaguely humanoid shape. There's no head, but it does have something resembling arms, maybe tentacles of, well, again, these humans that basically that is comprised of. So
You.
Allow
Yeah.
me to quote the cat from Red Dwarf here. Ugly.
we're going to need some initiatives, and I'll set up a box so we can see what
Does
you
it
guys.
take any kind of damage from getting scorched?
Well, so it does, but it has enough brain cells for it to
Try to avoid it.
Yes,
Well, it
and
needs to dodge in that case. And
Yes.
in fact, it needs to dodge both of these flamers.
and what I'll do is I'll do.
Can it
like
even do that?
so. It
Well,
would have. It would need to have enough reactions for it to do it.
This is one other thing I'd like to point out, because you've asked, you appreciate me reminding you this. Do we need to roll insanity checks for this thing?
No. Well, so yeah, you probably do.
Just gonna check something in a hurry.
You
Actually,
probably
check two things in a hurry. I
And-
think I don't, but that's just me.
Let's see. There we go. So this is a combat situation. Okay. Good. So I'm going to need you all to roll me willpower tests.
Is it for fear?
Yes.
Yes. Then I need to check exactly what it is my abilities do, because jaded for one thing.
Jaded won't quite work for this
No,
because
they won't.
Jaded
But I also
is,
have, it's not supernatural stuff, but
Indeed.
I also have.
Modifiers.
I also.
What was
have-
that, AJ?
Sorry.
Modifiers.
Minus 20.
Shit.
Yeesh.
That's to willpower. This is explicitly a fear test, is it?
This is a fear test.
Then I can mitigate some of that. I have resistance fear, so it's only a minus 10
Cool.
penalty in this case.
Yeah,
Sweet.
and I still need to. Why is this thing? Yeah, sorry, I'm being a bit slow, but this is not
No worries, no
cooperating as per usual.
I think what we'll do actually is we'll take that break and
Yep.
that second and final break, and then we'll see what happens when we get back. We'll
Yes.
be right back.